By the way, so we got Mike with us tonight and Jim with us tonight. I don't know, Jim, if you noticed. So Mike and I did a podcast a while ago to kind of get a
Yes,
test run, and
I
I got
listened
it.
to it. Very good.
Well, yeah, but the audio was shit because I tried something different. But did you notice that we changed the name to Chocolate and Pants over a Winnebago?
Yes.
Okay, so are you clear on why we call it that? Do you know what it's referencing?
Yes.
So the chocolate, do you know what that is?
I'm guessing it's for the 7 people that are going to listen in. Number two.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So chocolate, so Winnebago is an easy one. Chocolate and
Yeah.
pants. Pants
Right.
is simple. It's Chris wearing ladies'
Right.
pants. The chocolate is when Mike told that story about how him and Kathy had that really fancy room and they put chocolate on the bed and then they laid in it, forgot it was
Yeah.
there, and he thought he shit himself overnight.
That was in London. That's right.
Yeah, that's a classic. So that's why I needed a way. And also I
Well,
figured pants is for me for piss pants because yeah, actually, you know what? We just drove out to Utah, right? And I had to go out of the car and they had to pull over and I had to jump out and piss 3 of the 4 days. Twice were in the broad daylight. Just that. So I just want to let you guys know, but I didn't take a dump in my pants. All right.
That's something.
So that's the chocolate is for Mike shitting himself in the bed. The pants is for Chris wearing girl pants. And the Winnebago is because, again, you still to this day claim that a human being can piss over a Winnebago.
Yes.
And I have a picture of it. That's our picture is a Winnebago, like an old shitty 70s Winnebago. Yeah. It's funny. When we were driving out there, I passed a couple and I wanted to take a picture of it and send it to you, but I didn't. All right.
Let me see if you get this. So
Okay.
I drove down to my mom's place a couple weeks ago. And when you get off the exit on North Carolina, there is a sign that says Rock Ridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't know I don't know what that's from. I haven't.
Blazing Saddles.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. That reminds me. So first,
somebody's
I'm
gonna
not
have
gonna
to go back and get a shitload of dimes.
you know what? I'm gonna see if I can watch that tonight. So before we get to the topics, I won't bring up what I wanted to about Jim's mom. I'm gonna let that one go. But I still think listen, I'm not making fun of her when we were teasing. I think that's hilarious. It's a classic. It's a classic for our group for you to text that.
Yeah.
That's why you want to know why she's kicked out of South Carolina? Because the version I heard is that she got kicked out of the state. Okay, just so you don't want to let the facts get in the way.
Why not?
Got kicked out of the state. The other thing, everybody, the 2 people that are going to listen to this, Mike is currently doing his fantasy draft.
Yes.
While we're doing this, so we might have to give him some advice. I am not going to go on a rant on how stupid I think fantasy is because I'll let Mike do it. But that's
so. Let me point this out. Let me. So it's Matt Joe's fantasy league.
Oh yeah.
And so like 20 more than 20 years ago, I'm the only non-family member.
Okay.
Right. So and I don't Matt Joe and I just do it for fun. We did it and then it kind of ballooned and now like everybody's really fucking serious except he and I.
Oh, okay.
So I've debated continuing to do it because we would just do it for fun and to ball bust and that type of thing. But now a bunch of people are really serious. Like, ugh, it's just fantasy football. Who cares?
Well, I would do that with our group, but I hate it. I was interested in it 1 week and I lost interest. By the way, I did send you guys. I think Jim Hook signed up already. I did send a pigskin pick'em for us to do.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like the college football one because I saw Bonfanti's yesterday and I tried to remember. I sent it to a bunch of people, but sometimes it doesn't. And the Yahoo one too. Everything. Angela rejoined last year's group on ESPN because I didn't know that I could rejoin last year's group. So she will probably win last year's group's name this year because she's the only one doing it. But anyhow, she rejoined last year's. But I just know the college is this week, and then obviously NFL. The other thing is, so before we start, I want to talk about Dion first because that's a good one, Jim. But I want to honestly tell you, I don't know if you caught. Do you know? Remember when Jim announced what he named his dog? They named his dog Duke, right? For the patriarch of Giants football. So I thought, all right, he's being funny, and he named him Duke because Daniel Jones went to Duke.
Yeah, no.
That's
No.
what I thought
No.
until on our vacation, I was reading about the Mara family, how he was that's where the football, because I got the football today. We
Yep.
found it in the
there's the
closet.
Duke.
And
There's
I'm
the
like,
Duke.
I knew it. That's why, because the Duke, right? So that's
Yep.
what you meant. You were not naming him after that shitty quarterback.
No.
That's why I said, why didn't you name him Drew Lock? Because that's who's going to start until I saw him actually play. And that's not going to happen. But anyhow, I actually was like, I can't believe he named his dog after Daniel Jones.
No.
And I also want an ass beating for not thinking of going to see your dog and your new deck on Saturday was that yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah.
I freaking love dogs, and I should have looked at your deck. So next time I got to make sure I stop in to see.
You did look at the deck.
I know. I brought the picnic table into the driveway, and we stopped.
Oh.
And then I'm like, oh shit! I would have liked to have seen the dog.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
By the
That's
way, I'm also the only one that's wearing reading glasses. Doesn't look like a woman right now. I just want to point that out.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I will come there. We will scrap.
Yeah.
We'll get down right there in that room and scrap.
Hey, could you put yourself? You got. Why are you sitting in a big room there? You look like you're sitting in that bathroom in New Orleans right now.
Good one.
You got about a shoulder width.
I'm in his office upstairs. I'll tell you what. We are going to scrap. That's going to happen.
Are you up? Are you up north or?
Yeah.
Hey, are you coming to visit in 2 weeks so we can watch Red Zone together, or no? You gonna drive down here
in 2 weeks?
Yeah, for the first week of the NFL. What do you think? You might as well.
No, I don't. No, not in 2 weeks.
So you come down and we watch Texas.
I'm on the clock. Hold on, I'm on the fucking clock.
Oh, here we go. Did you make a first pick yet?
I did. I took Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right, I got to get a running back. Who do you like? Do you like Isaiah Pacheco? He's on my.
Oh, the fight doctor. Hell yes.
Yeah. You like the fight doctor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would take Pacheco.
I think I need a running back. This is my second pick.
What else is an option there?
On my this is my list, by the way. So Derrick Henry. So the fight doctor, Derrick Henry, who I think Derrick Henry's washed up. Plus with Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's the running back anyway.
Yeah.
Rashad White in Tampa Bay, Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. Did you catch that, by the way?
Yes, I did.
James Cook in Buffalo, Joe Mixon in Houston.
No.
I think I'm going to take the fight doctor.
The fight doctor.
Yeah, I would take
all those guys combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right.
So you got, and Jamar Chase, where the hell did he go? Did he go to the Giants?
Cincinnati.
Kim? Oh,
No,
he's with. That's right. I'm
Cincinnati.
thinking of the new guy from LSU.
Malik.
Oh yeah, it's Neighbors.
Neighbors. That's right. Yeah, Jim Neighbors' kid. Yeah.
Good
Yes.
one. Good.
Yeah, he's going to sing "Take Me Out to Indiana" before the first Giants game
Back
this
home
year.
again in Indiana.
Back home again to Indiana. All right.
See, I took these off. I only take them off when I go to roll around and scrap with somebody and kick their ass.
Well, since you're going to come over in 2 weeks to watch Red Zone and college football, you can wear your glasses.
So is this going on YouTube too, or just Spotify?
I think I'm going to do audio only today.
Okay.
Actually, I probably don't have to, even though I look like shit and you can barely see me, but maybe I will put it on.
I mean, look at my glasses. These
true.
are Amazon.
Maybe I will put this on audio instead, or on video.
on.
It's easier.
Yeah.
Plus, the guy that's like in the witness protection program isn't with us tonight, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Good one. Yes.
All right. So Jim brought up Dion. So I saw this yesterday, and he has. First of all, is anybody really shocked that this is the way this is unraveling?
No. And here's the thing with Dion. He's like an enigma, right? Like he's a self-promoter and all that. And then I read today that for players that he has on his team that have kids, he's setting up savings accounts for them. So I don't understand him. Like, that's something admirable that he's doing. But then you look at the other stuff that you read. Oh, there's fights in the locker room. There's guns, there's this, there's that, and the other thing. And then you go to criticize him, and not to get political, but that man's Donald Trump. Like, he can't take constructive criticism. Like,
he can't take any.
Yeah, he can't take any.
No.
Like, and it's like, oh no, I know what I'm doing. And that's where I just lose him, because I've said this before. I think there are really good things that he does, but then I look at him and he almost seems like an ass clown.
Well, he is.
I
think he is.
That'd be because he is.
Yeah. I
You
can't
know,
figure them out.
Here's the thing. You're the head football coach at a big Division I school, right? Colorado's a legit school. It's not like
Yes.
Boise State. It's a
Right.
legit Division I school, and you get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
And along with that comes a responsibility. And a responsibility is to talk to the media, to take your lumps.
Correct.
You do. That's part of being the boss,
Mhm.
right? You're
Yeah.
the boss. You got to take it on. Like when you lose, it's on you.
Right.
You get too much credit when you win, too much when you lose. That's
Right.
how it works, right?
Yeah.
Be a fucking man.
Right,
Take
but
it.
that's the problem. So here's a guy that created himself when he was a freshman by giving himself his own nickname
Yes.
and wanting to
Correct.
be seen and all the stuff. But when anything goes bad, he's the guy that's not going to shake hands. He's the guy
Yeah,
that's going
that's
to
right.
take off.
Mhm.
So now
Right.
this guy, who, by the way, some of the criticisms weren't wrong. And
No.
I mean, I get it. You don't like the guy. You just don't talk to him anymore. But now he already wouldn't answer questions from the one guy because of CBS, because CBS said something wrong about him. Now you ban a guy and he's
Right.
not making more friends. And the people that are outside of Colorado are like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. And now so it's kind of like the whole theory that everybody was happy to see Florida State lose because they made such an embarrassment of themselves, bitching and whining that he should have been in last year. And it doesn't help that Danny Cannell is the biggest dick out there, and everybody hates Florida State because they hate Cannell.
Yeah.
So now Dion, it's same thing. Like, you're not rooting for this guy anymore because they
No.
better win this. They got North Dakota State. I tell you what, if they lose, holy hell, that's not gonna, because that's a game that they should win, but it's gonna be tough.
Mhm.
And they're no better. By the way, they're no better than they were last year, roster wise. It's the same situation, other than his kid, who he's probably going to, if they start losing and his kid starts getting beat up, he'll take him out so he can decide where he's going to go in the NFL draft.
Shador is going to the Cowboys, and Coach Prime is going to be the next Cowboy head coach.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
No, that's a disaster.
Yep.
You know what, though? That would be Christmas Day come early. It really would.
Yeah, you're right. It would be hilarious. But
Right.
first of all, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be bad enough to fire Mike McCarthy unless they make the playoffs again and don't win a game, or they don't make it. And Jera decides, you know what, we got to make a change.
Jera today, I guess he did an interview and was dropping F-bombs.
Nothing wrong with that.
But basically saying, I'm 81 years old. I know what's best for this football team, so on, so forth. And it's the same thing as, for any Cowboy fans out there, I just look at it this way. As long as Jerry's running that team, you're not going to win anything.
They're not. No.
You're not.
No, they're not. They're not. No, and I said that when I watched that documentary when Jason Garrett was there. I'm like, this family, because it's all family members he's got.
Right.
They're not going to win. They're not going to be, they're not going to be good enough. I didn't realize he was 81. He's damn near Al Davis. Like, he's going to be incoherent pretty soon.
Yes. He might be already.
I don't mean he's Al Davis having won a bunch of championships, but when Al Davis got older, he was out there. Yeah. He's like Leon Hess. When Leon Hess announced that Rich Kotite was his boy and he hired a guy to win 3 games in 2 years.
Listen, please refer to him like Francesa does. We call him Mr. Hess. He's Mr. Hess.
Oh, Francesa. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get on a rant about Francesa. Oh, I tell you what, before we move to Pete Rose, so I'm downstairs today. I'm trying to warm up the room down there and for a couple of weeks. And I'm watching the replay of Penn State, Michigan, and Gus Johnson. My God, it's impossible to watch a game. You can't do it. And Joel Klatt is really good. I can't do it with Gus because all he does is just yell.
He does.
He's yelling and he's sticking it up, and he's just, oh my God, it's terrible. All right. So Mike talked about Pete Rose. I did watch this, and it was really good, the documentary. But I'll let Mike. By the way, are you up on another pick, or can you talk about?
No, I got a few picks here. So I don't want to talk about Pete being in the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows my position on that.
Right.
I want to talk about Pete being from my dad's generation.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you an example. There's a scene where he's sitting in a chair and Marty Brennaman walks in with his wife.
Yes.
Marty Brennaman's wife is clearly younger than Marty Brennaman, right?
Yes.
And she's got big old boobies.
Yeah.
Pete like exchanges pleasantries by saying hello and then looks at her. He's staring right at her tits and goes, "You still got them jugs, huh?"
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And then he called the reporter from Philly babe.
He
You know?
did.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
That's right.
And they kill him on it. The guy's 80 years old, you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah, what do you think's gonna
Yeah.
happen?
Right.
Exactly.
He doesn't give a fuck. What are you gonna
But-
do? Not put him in the Hall of Fame?
right.
Yeah, the thing is, like, so you're absolutely right. Like, he's from that era. You know,
Yes.
and he's
Yeah.
not going to polish himself up when he gets older. It's just going to get worse because he don't
No.
care.
Right.
I mean, we all knew our dads. I mean, my dad would fart in a store. He didn't care. He's like, whatever.
Right, too.
You know, like, you don't do that. Like, even I'm his age now and I'm not doing that, but he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then when they get older, it's like, whatever. You know, you're hitting on younger you're hitting on young girls. He used to walk, we would be shopping and he used to walk over like a couple steps. Like, I know we all knew what he was going to do. And he'd rip one and you'd hear it.
Yes.
And you'd look at him, he's like, what? Oh, I came over here. And then you'd smell it. Like, what do you, no, yeah, no, you're right. We didn't hear you over there. The 2 steps you took over there.
My dad did that one time. That
That's-
exact thing in the aisle at Kmart. It was me and my uncle. He ripped one loud and it stunk, man, like diarrhea. And this woman comes around the aisle and like walks face first into and of course, my dad's laughing uncontrollably. It's like,
Did I ever tell you this story about my 8th grade teacher?
Chief fart in gym class?
No, well, no. She tells me at lunchtime, she goes, "I need to see you after school." I'm going, well, you know, what the hell did I do wrong? Right. So I finished my lunch and I go up and like, sister, did I do something wrong? And she goes, no. We're getting ready for the Christmas play. You're going to be the narrator. I said, okay. So we go downstairs. We're in the auditorium with the stage and all that. And she's talking. This is what I want you to say. All of a sudden, she farts so loud, like everybody's jaw dropped, right? And I look at the other kid next to me, and he just bursts out laughing. And she went on like nothing happened,
Yeah.
like no excuse me, or like, oh, God got me on that one. But I was like, oh my God.
Well, first of all, you really just got to act that way.
Yeah.
And every dude that's ever had that happen to them when they're younger, it's still funny now. And you don't forget.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I had a 2nd grade teacher who was teaching gym class doing jumping jacks and she ripped one. So that's how many years ago? I mean, that's like 40 that's more than 40. It's like 50 years ago. Still remember her name. I won't say it. And still remember her doing jumping jacks and where we were. And it was like, she's like, "Oops, excuse me." And that was it. I don't think any of the dudes could continue. Yeah.
Well, how about being a junior in high school taking midterm exams and saying like, I think I can squeak this one out. And all of a sudden, like the whole room is silent and you hear like this loud noise and, everybody turns around and stares at you. And you're like, oh boy, that's
So,
embarrassing.
well, I didn't do that, but I'm guessing Jim did.
Is Jim asking for a friend?
Yes,
he's asking for a friend. So I don't know if you ever think to yourself, I might be, you're not going to be able to. It's not. You're not. By the way, I think it's interesting that we went from Pete Rose calling somebody's jugs into fart stories. But anyhow, you are correct. Humor. He's not polished up. The thing is that for people that didn't, it doesn't matter because the people that are voting already know him. But like for people that didn't know him, you don't realize how big of a dick he was. Like it's, if you forgot or you didn't know, but that's just him. But still, how he played baseball, you can't argue. I'm sorry, you can't.
You can't argue. But the problem with Pete Rose is that there's no contrition. It's like and you've met people like this your whole life. They can sit there and do something 100% wrong, and you'd be like, "What'd you do that for?" Nope, it's not my fault. It's your fault for stepping to your left and when you should have stepped to your right. Like there's no like,
hey, but you know what?
I'm sorry.
You're right. You're right. There isn't. So who cares? The guy has 4,000 fucking hits.
Yeah.
Right.
4,256 hits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he's contrite. He did it.
No. Right.
Like, he didn't gamble and bet on his team when he was playing. So
we know of
his playing accomplishments. Like he is who he is. He's a degenerate gambler.
Right.
Yes.
Right. He's
Yeah.
root, like all that's in play, right? So
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the documentary.
Yeah.
And I actually did meet his kid. His son was on one of the coaching staffs of he was a bench coach, hitting coach when one of the teams, either in Reading in AA or when they came to Lehigh Valley. And we just talked a little bit. I didn't do an interview or anything with him,
Do
but
you remember when the Yankees were in the World Series? I think it was like 99 or something like that. And Jim Gray did it. Pete Rose was able to go to Yankee Stadium for the World Series. And they put like all the, the top players at their positions through the
yeah.
100 years of, that century. And Jim Gray interviews Pete Rose and he's like, do you finally want to admit you bet on baseball? Right. And I forget what answer he gave. And then the next day, I forget who the Yankee was. It wasn't it was like a Chad Curtis or a Brett Gardner. They win a game and Jim Gray goes to interview him. He goes, well, after the way you spoke to Pete Rose, we decided not to talk to you. And they walked away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
remember that.
yeah, I forget who that, I can't remember the player. But you look at that and it's like, I get where you're coming from. You're sticking up for one of your players that played in the league, but there's, again, you need to have a little contriteness and be like, hey, yeah, I fucked up. I bet on baseball, instead of saying, well, every excuse, well, yeah, I bet on baseball, but here's why I bet on baseball, and just be like, yeah, I got to own up to what I did wrong. There's just, be a man, just say, yeah, but you're right. He's 81 years old.
Yeah.
He contradicted
things. He's not going to change it.
Well, he contradicted himself in the documentary. Like it's so bad that he not only did he lie about stuff that happened before, but he actually contradicted himself from the actual facts that we saw or a video that we saw. He said something different in the actual documentary. So it's like you can't believe, not to mention that the Royd guy was saying one thing and Pete was saying another. But
Right.
like, you can't believe anything the guy's talking about. So
right. And the Dowd report, like they showed him all the stuff that they had on him, and he said, all right, I'll just sign off and be done. I mean, I don't think that whole report has become public. I think they pretty much,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. You can go read that.
oh, it is okay.
Yeah.
It's
it's voluminous, by the way. It's thousands of pages. Like he was guilty.
Oh yeah.
He claims that he got bad advice. I don't know, maybe he did, but whatever. It's like,
well, it goes to Michael Jordan, right? When he went to go play baseball for the year.
Yeah, yes, correct.
Right. And like Jordan's a degeneriate gambler.
100%.
The rumor was that is Stern said, all right, listen, I don't want to suspend you.
Yeah.
Gambling. So how about you decide to take a year off and say you want to go play baseball or something like that? And he did it, and all that got swept under the rug. And I really don't care if you gamble on stuff, but now, like, the funny thing is now you got the fans in the stands. They're betting on these apps and they're screaming at the player, like, you just cost me $20 or, $200. Like, Mike, I think you sent out that tweet the other day, but it's so true. Like, now that you've allowed gambling into the game, well, maybe you do need to take another look at him coming back. But my opinion is, if you're going to before he goes in, Joe Jackson goes in. You need to let him go in first. Then I could say, all right, I'll let Pete Rose go in.
Well, Joe Jackson threw a World Series, though, right?
But when you look at his stats in that World Series, you can't really prove that. I think he hit like 353 in the series.
Well, John Cusack's got to go in then. You got to put him in.
Good one. Yes.
So,
by the way, great underrated movie.
No, that's really good.
Sports movie is 8 Men Out.
So Jim brought up fans, which is another one of his notes. Again, as Mike stated, so fans I would be at games, whether it's baseball or football, and fans would be bitching about a player on the field is on their fantasy team. So they were doing this before.
Right.
But why again, like, who didn't think this was going to happen? Really?
Right.
I mean, guys beat their wives the day after the Super Bowl because they lost money. You don't think these guys are going to threaten the players? I mean, that's the truth. On that Monday, it's awful. So, like, you don't think now with the amount of how easy it is that you're not going to get pissed off? that a player makes a bad play.
Right. I'm just.
Of course they're going to start doing that.
Wes, go out. Come on.
Not sure what's going on there with Jim. Did you have to make another pick, by the way?
No, I haven't picked yet. So, yeah, I did. After I took the fight doctor, I took Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that leads into my Vanessa Hudgens topic, but we'll talk about that later or next week.
Fantasy points machine. So
yeah. No, I don't understand that all of what's going on with the guys leaving teams and players getting paid to go to different schools. I don't understand why anybody is surprised that this is going on.
Right.
You knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And betting was allowed, and when they decided we're going to do NIL and we're going to let these guys go into the transfer portal.
I remember years ago talking like a friend of mine growing up, and I'm not a gambler. I don't bet on sports or anything. I might go to the casino once in a while and drop $100, and that's the end of it. And I remember sitting there saying, how do you bet on these? Like, how do you bet on football? Like, I just don't understand it. And he looks at me, he goes, Whitey, makes the game so much fun. I'm like, but don't you just want to sit and enjoy it instead of having your heart racing and like, oh man, please miss this field goal and I'm going to win this much amount. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't see the attraction to it. Now, a little fun prop bet or something like that to throw $5 down. Yeah, I don't mind. Like, is the fight doctor going to score 2 touchdowns in a game against the Texans? Like, all right, yeah, I'll throw $5 down on that for fun. But when you're betting like $100, $200 on games and
no,
I don't get. I work hard. I work too hard for my money to sit there and piss it away.
I get mad. I get mad when in any of the free when we're doing our college football or NFL pools, and we don't put any money in that. I get mad enough or nervous enough when I get those games wrong.
Yeah.
Let alone, and that's I don't know how unless it's a little like it's very little and it's just something to keep you interested in. But you can easily go off the rails very quickly. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we got a few minutes before I might have to take a break here, but I wanted to. What was interesting is that your comment about James Franklin. I have said this to Penn State people for a month, maybe even back when we were at Penn State for softball, that I indeed believe that they will probably move on. He has to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Their schedule is easy enough. I won't say so easy, but it is easy enough that they should be no worse than 10-2. If they're not 10-2 or better, I don't think they're going to be undefeated, but they if they don't make the playoffs, I think they will move on regardless of. I had one guy's like, well, who are they going to get? It doesn't matter. They've got to make a change because if he can't make a 12-team playoff at Penn State in that conference with their schedule this year, which is pretty easy. Yeah. They don't play not Texas. They don't play
Ohio State,
Oregon. They don't play Oregon.
Okay.
They play Ohio State, but it's at home, and they don't play Michigan.
That's right. I knew that.
So they really could go 11-1 and only lose to Ohio State at home, which is a home game. But like it starts this week. Like West Virginia is not easy. So he has to make the playoffs. Yeah. They won't win a game in the playoff, but he has to make it. If not, they got to move on because it's not getting any better. Not.
So let's throw out a couple names. If Franklin does go, who do you think takes it? Do you think an Al Golden comes back, or did his time as a head coach pass him by? Did they decide bring back Bill O'Brien?
Hold on. Al Golden.
Well, listen,
Al Golden.
Yeah, his
Richie Kotite not available. Is he dead?
Yeah, no.
Al Golden.
Golden's biggest mistake was going to Miami. Not a fit for him.
Well, he was at Temple, right?
Yeah, he turned Temple around. He was perfect for that situation. Miami, we talk about different coaches going like, I just don't see that fit there. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, and wearing a shirt and tie when it's 100,000 degrees outside was stupid too. Yeah. But I don't know. Like I have to think about that. As far as like who they would maybe. It's just that I think they have no choice, but they have to. Because I think he's had a long enough time to get them over the top, and now that they've expanded it, this helps. Like if there was one college, one university that I thought this expansion helps, it's them. Because they
Yes.
were always third in the conference.
Mhm.
They obviously would have been in a couple of years ago when they won the league but lost to Pitt. So I think he has to do it. And he's just such a horse's head. By the way, there's coaches in this state that I know for a fact, high school coaches, that will not let him come and visit. And it's like really good. I won't say really,
Right.
really good. Real, I mean, not like public school stuff, okay? Like prep school
Right.
guys. They hate him. It's like, and this is a program that's sending guys to Ohio State and Georgia and all over the place. So
Do they not have a place for him to land his helicopter? Is that
good
the
one.
issue?
Oh, he does that in the state finals every year. He swoops around and then lands it. Oh yeah, like a big jackass, big show that he is. Freaking snake oil salesman. Yeah, that's what he is. Oh man, I hope West Virginia beats them this week. Oh God. Anyhow,
Well, you look at West Virginia. There's a coach on the hot seat like 2 years ago, and
yeah.
has a 9-4 season last year. Kind of. If West Virginia goes 9-4 every year, the guy's job is safe.
Right, because it's West Virginia.
Correct.
Now, I'll tell you there was two coaches that I thought that really have to make it. The other one was Dabo, but apparently he's safe at Clemson because I don't know if the fan base is not quite as aggressive.
Right.
And then they realize that he did make them credible, but they're not going to get back there again. I don't think they'll ever be back to where they were unless you can recruit Trevor Lawrence again and Deshaun Watson before he whacked off people or whatever the hell he did.
Good one.
But he didn't. But anyhow, because I mean, their schedule is easy too. That whole conference is a joke, but I don't think Dabo is going to make it either. I don't think Dabo makes it this year. I think Franklin does. I don't think he can't. I think I might be able to coach them to a playoff spot.
So the Athletic today did an article of who is college football's best coach with Nick Saban gone, ranking coaches in tiers. So, and this is by Bruce Feldman and Chris Vanini. They're tier 1 coaches. Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else behind him.
Dabo Swinney.
No, he's terrible.
And
that's where you lose credibility.
Right, is because Clemson had 6 consecutive top 4 finishes, including the most impressive 2 national championships against Saban's Alabama.
Yeah, they did it when Deshaun Watson was there and when Trevor Lawrence was there.
And that's why they put him in there, because he's won 2 national titles.
It's the Kevin Sumlin, it's the Cliff Kingsbury, the Lincoln Riley, it's the guys Gene Chizik, Jimbo, the guys that have won national championships with tremendous college players, tremendous quarterback. I mean, Blake Sims was at Alabama and they won a title with him. I mean, he's terrible, so I could win with Cam Newton at Auburn, and Chizik was fired too. Orgeron, even, to be honest with you, one with Joe Burrow.
Well, speaking of Lincoln, he wanted to get out of the LSU game. He's talking about ending the rivalry with Notre Dame every year, because we should take a better, easier path to the playoff instead of playing these hard teams.
He shouldn't have admitted that.
Right. No, he shouldn't have. And my personal belief is he jumped Oklahoma because he knew they were going to the SEC, and he was going to get exposed. And I think he's on the hot. I think he's on the hot seat too.
Well, I don't know because of the amount of money they paid him, but imagine you had Caleb Williams after a Heisman Trophy season and you went 7-5 in the regular season, and there was embarrassing games, not to mention Colorado, which Mike and I watched, and it was like 49-49. I mean, I don't expect them to be even be close to making a playoff spot this year.
No, I mean,
and he's the next Cliff Kingsbury. He made all that money because of the quarterbacks that he had. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, those guys.
What do you think if the Bears have a bad year, they bring him over to be their head coach?
I don't know how anybody could hire this guy in the NFL. I think you should have, you would think he would have learned with Cliff Kingsbury. He was a disaster. Yeah. This is the next guy.
Yes.
Like the guy at Georgia Tech, I would rather take because he's fundamentally better. He believes in running the ball and creating system and playing defense. He doesn't just have Kyler Murray.
I gotta let my dogs in while you're still talking.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stop this now, and I'm gonna send another link.
Okay.
All right, because we're running out of time. I want to do a few more minutes, so
Okay.
we'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Chocolate and Pants over Winnebago. We had to take a little break there. So, yes, Mike, how's it going in the fantasy draft?
All right. So, let me record this one. Somebody just took it. So, I have selected, as you know, the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco is my running back.
Yes.
I have Jamar Chase as one of my wide receivers, Travis Kelce at tight
Yeah.
end. James Cook out of Buffalo is the other running back. And I just selected Joe Burrow as my quarterback.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I feel pretty good so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think when I did it, mine was all computerized, or not computers on the computer, and I forget. I had Tyreek Hill when he was with the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the only chance that I had.
Yeah.
And like people wanted me to trade. And but what happens is if you just decide, like I was so bad at it, I'm like, you can have him. Then like the commissioner, whoever's running it is like, I'm not going to let you trade him for nothing. Like it's the integrity of the league. And that's, anyhow. All right, so I wanted to save Howie Roseman, Jim, for next week because it's an NFL deal. All right,
Okay.
and plus I want to get. Oh, so I saw Bonfanti's yesterday at the Pigs game, and I don't know who was more drunk, Nancy or Ryan. I think it might have been Ryan.
Wow,
But
that's impressive.
Yeah, I made an agreement that I need signed, but I said, listen, here it is. The season hasn't started. If for some reason the Eagles have a good year and make it to the Super Bowl, Mike can come, you can't. Yeah, because that's what we had a couple years ago. And then because you can't have her there on a regular Sunday when they're playing, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Mike brought up Portland Sea Dogs. I've never been there. But so go ahead and I'll tell you one of the top people getting hit by a ball stories that I have for you.
So we go to the Sea Dogs game. They're AA affiliate for the Red Sox, right? They got a green monster out there. So like a miniature Fenway setup and all that. It's a nice little ballpark in Portland, Maine. Seats like 5,500. Nice little place. We go to the game Saturday night. And there's probably, I don't know, in total 40 rows, right?
Yeah.
Like all the way back. And then the top is lined with press boxes and suites, right? And so we're kind of looking straight down the first base line, and over the first incident is between home plate and the first base, home plate and first base on the right behind the dugout, and there's a soaring foul ball hit, right? And as it's coming down, Davis says, nobody's even looking. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching, nobody, like a guy's eating a hot dog, like it's like they're not even they have no idea, right? This ball hits, but it hits this much of a seat, which it's like a metal bench, right? So it sounds like a cannonball landing, right? And these people are stunned, like they think the Iranians have dropped a nuclear warhead suddenly right in the middle of the stadium. Like, what happened? What is this? Where'd this baseball come from? Yeah. 2 innings later, hits a guy in the shoulder, same exact thing.
Yep.
You went to a fucking baseball game.
Yeah.
Like, do you not watch the baseball? What are you watching?
Well, first, they have warnings everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, did it hit like that field goal did and knock that soda
Good one.
cup
Yeah,
over?
it did. Like soda splashed everywhere, just like that. Yes.
I mean, we were at, so I mean, I've seen, by the way, somebody got whacked this year at Iron Pigs. I don't even want to get into where they had him sitting. It was not good. Anyhow, they don't do it anymore. It was a stupid idea, but I've seen so many people get hit there. Oh, it's almost once a night because people don't, get hit in the head, whatever. But we're at Reading for a morning game and it's the education day. So Reading's only got one level. So we shoot from the top of the lower level of seats. They don't have an upper deck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, there's so many kids here. Somebody's getting first batter, second pitch, guy fouls one straight back, hits the kid right in the chest. Oh. And he's not paying attention because they're all goofing off. Like they're still getting the seats. They're figuring out who's going to get a hot dog. Second pitch, first batter right in the chest. And straight back. Like it came in hot.
Did any of them have baseball gloves?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Some of them do, but Jim, there's 8,000 people there and maybe 100 are paying attention.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Sandberg managed the Pigs and we used to talk about the morning game and playing that early and all that. And he said, well, there's a couple of things that, first of all, he said that the biggest thing is that it's never quiet. There's just kids screaming the whole time. But he also said that none of them are paying attention. So you're always worried when a ball goes into the stands, it's going to get somebody because they're not paying attention.
Yes.
So I'm not, I thought you were going to tell me that some guy, you're tired of when people see a ball go in the air, they think it's going to be a home run and you're yelling, nope.
Good one. Good one. No, yeah. They're like, home run. Come on, batter. Home run.
All right. Let me see here. So I want to save Howie Roseman for next week because that's a college thing or a pro thing. I wanted to, okay, so the Vanessa Hudgens topic, which works in because I think we mentioned her earlier. Oh, you took Kelsey. By the way, crickets on the whole thing with him and Swift, right? We haven't heard anything all summer. And then when the season starts to get the teeny boppers to watch again, we're going to bring her back out. Right? I mean, nothing.
Right. I saw a thing on Twitter and when they started dating, and it's like how you can tell you've never been to a football game. And this little girl had a Kelsey jersey and they spelt it Kelsey.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I saw a commercial for something and I saw Black Orphan Annie in it. And I haven't seen her since the Super Bowl when she was in that suite. I don't know who that is. She's some singer. It's like, looked like Black Orphan Annie. Did we not go with that most of that game? Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know. She has orange hair and she's black. She looks like Black Orphan Annie, Little Orphan Annie. Anyhow.
Like the Black Wendy's girl?
No, because it wasn't like, no, it wasn't braids. It was like, it was like like a Randy Moss afro in his day. But all right. So I think, first of all, I'll say this. I actually told a story about how I don't think Taylor Swift is attractive the other day, sort of, but I didn't get into the Cher context. But Taylor Swift, to me, I don't know, if you took her face and Tom Brady's face and took the hair off it, I think they look exactly the same. Like, that's how wretched she is. And he's a hot guy, but she looks like a dude. Anyhow, Vanessa Hudgens came up because she's married to one of these guys. He played baseball, one of the guys that plays for the Pigs in high school or something like that. They started talking about Vanessa Hudgens yesterday. That's an example of what I was trying to do. Like, of all those like Disney actors, the Ashley Tisdale's, her, in the High School Musical shows, like that's somebody that I would have expected him to be with. Someone who I think is, attractive and yet popular, but obviously he likes dating dudes, so he likes Taylor Swift. Do we agree that Vanessa Hudgens is better looking than Taylor Swift, or no?
I looked it up.
He looked it up.
Yeah, because I don't know who she is. So
come on, she was one of those Disney.
I had to. I'm with Jim. I had to Google this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Neither one do it for me.
Yeah, as Cliff Clavin would say, I wouldn't kick her out of my bed for eating crackers.
Who said this?
Cliff Clavin.
Cliff Clavin.
Yeah.
So
this is coming from a guy who superimposed his head on somebody's body to look like he was with Snooki on a date. It took me a minute because I thought he actually had a picture with her because he did meet Kelly Ripa.
Yeah.
Jim did meet Kelly Ripa.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah, the good old
Jim. So Jim has a story, he tells me, Mike, that they were in Disney and he's videoing Kelly Ripa with Regis, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he claims that Kelly Ripa looked right at the camera and kind of waved to him or smiled at him.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So Nicole is arguing that it never happened. So I'm over there the one day and we're drinking like crazy. So he puts it on. I mean, it's clear as day that she waved at him. I'm like, Nicole, she's like, you're just saying that. I'm like, no, you saw her look over and smile at him. Like, she saw that he was videoing. It happened.
Yeah.
I will go with that one. Yes.
Yes. And then I was like a seventh grader and I got so excited. I put the camera down and turned it off.
A seventh grader. Then he went, like a seventh grader in gym class when somebody farted, he got really embarrassed.
Good one. Yes. Good one.
Hey, I tell you what, I'm just trying to think of, so Red Zone opening week, hopefully Detroit is playing in their outdoor stadium for that opening weekend.
Yeah.
And we can ask Nicole if she noticed that Detroit was playing outdoors.
And I hope Geyser doesn't lose the E on the back of his jersey.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Geyser. Geyser. I forgot about Geyser. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Although I'm going to give my wife credit. Yesterday I had on the Packers game, and they cut to the guy, a Packer fan in the stand. He's dressed like a priest, and he's got like the Pope hat on, and it's got Vince Lombardi's face on it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that
And
guy.
it's Pope Vince or whatever it's
Yeah.
And she looks at it, she goes, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Well, do you know who Vince is?" And she goes, "Oh, Vince Lombardi?" I said, "Yes, that's impressive. You got it, you know." And she's like, "Yeah, I get this stuff every once in a while, you know."
I was afraid where that was going at first.
No.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. I was afraid what she might have belted out.
I was.
You know,
too.
when you talk about certain kind of peanuts, and then that happens, I don't. I don't.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, by the way, another thing before I get one more in there, was that guy with the Vince Lombardi cone hat? Was he in that diner that morning when we went in with Matt and Joe after we rode in that Pinto? Because that's the kind of dude that would have been in there.
Yeah, I was in bad shape though.
No, not that diner. The diner that we got in when Matt Joe's girlfriend picked us up in the Pinto.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Every old Vince Lombardi's relative was in that diner. It was like the Church of the Packers.
It was
diner. Yeah, I would have expected that guy to be in there.
Oh, that's too funny.
Not the one that you got all ripped up at like 3 a.m. when Dave dropped us off, and we almost got thrown out of there.
No, we allegedly.
It was bad.
It was a Denny's.
It was bad.
It was a Denny's. I don't think
it was a Denny's. He was so ripped. It was so bad. He was out of control, and I was the actual voice of reason, which is showing you how bad it was. And I'm like I thought they were gonna not just throw us out, like they were gonna call the police because he's out of control. It was first of all, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then a whole bunch of three couples of older people roll in there, like 80s. And I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing in here at this time? I understood where we were.
Just woke up.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. That's true. Yeah. The early bird breakfast is 3 a.m. They were in for that. Oh, man, I thought that was going to go bad. All right, let me say one more. All right. Let's do this. Did you guys think about, have you thought at all about who potentially can make the playoff? We can talk about this next week. I'll tell you what I'll do, because I put some time into this. I won't put you. Have you thought about who you think might win the first 4 spots? So the 4 Power 4 champions. And let's imagine that someone in the ACC actually wins the conference with a better record than 9-3, and one of the group of 5s doesn't finish as the 4 seed. Have you thought, who do you, let's do it this way. Who do you think is going to win the SEC?
Georgia.
I do too.
I think Texas is going to win it. I can't say that with Angela around because she got mad at me when I said that.
I don't. Yeah, I debated that, by the way. I just think that I'll take Kirby Smart right now.
Yeah.
That's when you
yeah, you're right.
Those teams are really good, and I'll take the coaching first.
Yeah.
Right, guys. It's been there, done
that game is at Texas, I believe. That's why I lean that direction.
Yeah.
They both make the playoff, though. That's a given.
Yeah.
One is a 5, and the other one is probably the 1. I think if you win the,
that's right.
I'll tell you then in the Big Ten, I'll go for. I think Oregon wins the Big Ten.
You think so?
It's because they're playing Ohio State at home,
right?
And I'm giving them that advantage.
But then they might wind up playing in the Big Ten championship game again.
I still like them to win. You're right. I like them to win the Big Ten. I think that Dylan Gabriel has the potential of having a really good year at quarterback. And I thought you were going to tell me Ryan Day was in the top 3. I mean, that guy hasn't won dick, and I'm not sure how they're going to be. I think Oregon wins the Big Ten. And Ohio State's in too. So again, it's the 2 seed and the 6. Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State loaded up this year with this NIL stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's national championship or bust for them.
Yeah.
And, just say he does lose to Michigan this year.
Oh my God.
Which you
Oh.
know. But if he wins a national title, like what's more important?
Right, but
Or winning a state title,
yeah, good one. But if they're not good enough I don't think Michigan is.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be slightly down. I don't.
Yeah, I think so
If
too.
you lose the Michigan heading into the postseason, or if you don't make it because of that, I don't think you're good enough to win a playoff game in a couple weeks against somebody better.
Right.
Mike, you agree? You think Ohio State's going to win that?
I do. I think Michigan's on the downswing, and I think Ohio State is stable. They have so I think this might be Ohio State's stacked with NFL caliber players. Like they have this might be one of their most talented teams, which is saying something considering they're coming off of Marvin Harrison. And so I think Ohio State is loaded. And I think that Big Ten is going to come down to them and Oregon in the Big Ten championship. That's what it's going to be.
Well, their non-conference is terrible. I mean, it's not even
Ohio State.
Yeah, they don't have anybody that's even going to give them a 35-point game. So they're geared up for really 2 games or 3 because they play Oregon on the road. They play Penn State at Penn State, and they play Michigan. So like those are the only the rest of that league. I mean, no, I'm not trying to be funny. They don't even play Rutgers. I mean, it's terrible. And then the non-conference is awful.
That is probably Ohio State's biggest challenge, by the way. I think the first 4 games, either the first 4 or 5, are horrible.
It's like Michigan's schedule last year.
Correct.
Michigan's schedule was so bad. Yeah.
Their starters are playing a half.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Right.
So can you keep those guys sharp in the game, engaged, enough touches, like all that stuff to make it to those other games? That's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, for them.
Yeah. How about the Big 12? Who do you think might win that? I'll let you guys go first, and I'll tell you who I have. I think it's the best balanced conference. It's not necessarily going to have the best team come out of it, but I think it's so the ACC to me is easily the 4th conference of those Power Fours. But I think the Big 12 has a lot of good teams, but I don't know if any of them are good enough to potentially upend because I would put them as the 3 with the ACC champion as the 4. So I don't know if they could knock off. They're not going to knock. They would probably win the first round, or they'd have a bye. So they probably would win that 4-5 or that 3-6 matchup in the next round, but they're probably not going to get
Oklahoma State.
That's a possibility. That's not who I have, but that would be who I would put.
Are you thinking Arizona?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I think Oklahoma State is going to be there. I think.
Utah.
I think Utah wins it.
Utah. I forgot about
yeah. But again, they play in the regular season. It's at Oklahoma State, and then they got to play a second time. I just think with Cam Rising, they basically gray shirted him last year, and I like Whittingham. That conference, I think, man, every week is going to be good because I don't really know who's awful outside of Colorado.
Right.
I mean, Kansas has got a good player. K-State's going to be solid. I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think that BYU might be a little down, but Arizona. I think that conference is going to be great. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Arizona sucks too. But I think Arizona State will surprise a few people. They have some pretty good. They've recruited
I agree with you on
talent, right? Plus, in that early part of the season, if you have to go into Sun Devil Stadium, it's so hot. It's a tough place to win. So and even later in the season, if you're coming out of Colorado or somewhere or out of Oklahoma, it's hot, man. It's a tough. So I think Arizona State could be formidable in there, but I think Utah's the best team.
Yeah. So I had Miami winning the ACC anyhow. I did not think Florida State would win it. I did not think Clemson would win it. And I won't talk about play. We talk about the back, but I had we can talk about the group of 5 champ and then maybe some other playoff spots next week, even because it's not going to change in 1 week. But I thought Miami was the best team in the ACC, and it's because they've got the best quarterback. And I think they've got the only dynamic quarterback in the conference, and that's Cam Ward. And it's what we talked about. I mean, Cristobal, I don't know what he couldn't coach any worse than he did last year, right? I mean, making those big mistakes. So I think Miami is the team to win the ACC. But
hopefully he learns how to take a knee at the end of the game.
Right. I mean, he screwed up bad. And he's been out coached. When he was at Oregon, he made a lot of mistakes too. In fact, Mike, you remember he coached against Stanford in that game.
Yeah.
When we were there. I was there and he lost a big lead in that one. So
yeah.
But I like Miami to win that. But I tell you, this week they got to beat Florida. Like Miami has to win this game against Florida.
I know.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think it's somebody else other than Miami, or do you think they win that conference?
Who else could possibly win that conference?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Florida
because
State's not winning it.
no, not the way they no, and then Georgia Tech, I
No,
don't think they
give me a
can
break.
back that up. I think
Yeah.
they're going to be hard to
Yeah.
beat every week, same
I
as Virginia
completely-
Tech, but I don't think
completely
they
agree.
win it. And Clemson, I don't think is good enough either.
Yeah.
And Jim, I think Notre Dame, I'll just throw this out. I think Notre Dame is, I'm going to say, I got to look. I think I have them seated. I don't want to look. I think I have them seated 6th or 7th. I have them
Right.
seated behind like the SEC or the Big Ten runner up, and then probably the other one.
Mhm.
But they also have the potential of easily going 11-1. Like it's almost a guarantee. I know it's not, but they're better than almost everybody they're playing.
Yeah.
Right. And now the Florida State one was the big one, and they should beat them.
Right.
But anyhow, that's what I
Again, like you said, 3 big games for them.
Yeah.
They got A&M next week. Then they'll have USC and Florida State. Those are the 3 big
Mhm.
games. You're playing the 2 academies in Jersey and Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Those are wins. Purdue, one of the only true road games that they're going to have this year, which they should easily handle Purdue. And then you're playing Miami of Ohio, I think it is.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the schedule for them sets up really, really favorable. But, they got to get through A&M this week. If they get through A&M and win,
I got
you-
freaking baseball Saturday night. Damn it! But
you wind up giving yourself a lot of wiggle room there.
hey, speaking of that, so our game starts at 6:30. If you're not too ripped up and it's not too late, I might stop and watch the end of that game with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a big thing there, Jim, I'll tell you that. Let me tell you this quick story and we'll wrap up. So, Jim, this is another classic of me making a poor decision when Jim had been drinking all day. It's 4th of July many years ago. Oh, it was 97. And I was getting ready for a bench press contest at Sports.
No, it was 07.
But it was it was
97.
I think it was.
I didn't move up here till 2000.
Oh shit, you're right, Shane. So maybe it was like 04 or something.
Yeah.
It might have been 04. Because Shane was little. It was, yeah. So it's July 4th, and the contest was like a couple days later, and I wanted to get one really good like attempt in, a couple attempts with a spotter to make sure I kind of knew where to start because I didn't know. And I didn't want to try to bench a shitload of weight at home in case it gets stuck. So he's like, yeah, come on over. And now it's the 4th. He's been drinking all day. He's got a nice setup. So I get underneath, he set a weight on there, and he's spotting me, and he goes, oh, it's like 275 to start or something. Right? He's like, oh, sorry, I crop dusted you. So the first weight I'm going to try to push with his help, he rips one, basically ass just facing the other direction.
That is
with
something.
his schlong in my head, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I dropped this."
That's impressive.
You remember that, Jim?
I do. I think
he's like,
I think
sorry,
Tone was
sorry.
there too, right?
What's that?
I think Tone was over
Oh,
there.
yeah. So he's been drinking all that I should have known, and I'm like, and it was bad. Like I'm like, oh my god, that's what I remember. Like me showing up at Jim's house later. So if I come over
Hey, by
Saturday,
the way, ripping one right in a guy's face is way worse than doing it in a car and locking the windows.
I don't know about that. No,
It's
let
way
me tell
worse.
you this.
Come on. It's disrespectful in your face.
Ultimately, it's probably worse, but what you did was a dick move. He accidentally shit himself. Like he was drunk and farted. You meant to fart and then meant to lock the windows. That's a double dick move.
I was hungover in my defense.
And we stopped at Wendy's
violently.
and ate all that crappy Wendy's food with the time change throwing everybody off. And then you rip one in Corvallis.
Yep. You got upset because you thought we were going to miss kickoff.
Yeah, I was all messed up with the time change. I don't know. Jim's was accidental. It wasn't great.
It was accidental.
But you meant to rip one and then lock the windows. I got to save this story about what my sister said about that. We'll talk about that next week.
Right. one quick. Remember a few
here we go.
weeks ago we had that whole text string of you were driving back from Jersey, and you're like, you stopped at the rest area, and you're like, there's no bathroom there, and exit 12 on 78.
Yeah, me, right? Yeah, the rub and tug place. Yes,
the rub and tug. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, that hour text string was hysterical.
That's
So-
where it started with the share compared to Taylor Swift when it got out of
Yes.
control. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then the funny thing about that is you forget that Ventola's on that
Yeah.
and he just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, the text chain about your mom, that happened when we were driving out to Utah and Angela is reading it to me. It was hilarious. It was better than the Siri voice reading it to me. Like she's reading the text and we're losing it. That was great.
Yeah.
That's why I took that version and she got kicked out of the state
Yeah.
for reckless driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
All
fun.
right.
Yeah.
Let me wrap this up. So we'll talk next week. Hopefully we can do this again Monday. And I'll stay in touch with you guys and do the same thing. Come up with some ideas, and I'll save some of the ones. I figure we do the NFL stuff next week when the NFL is, is the week before that. So
Sounds good.
all right.
Okay. See you, boys.
So thanks everyone for listening to our first official chocolate and pants over the Winnebago podcast. All right.